All right, we're back with another month of the fastest and slowest selling cars in the United States of America. This time for February 2025. The number 10 slowest selling car in the United States right now is the Nissan Z, Dad, with a 216 days supply. There are almost 2,000 of them for sale nationwide, yet only 396 have sold in the last 45 days. Shocker, a $54,000 Nissan is not flying off the shelves.
Oh, come on, it could become a collector's item. Everybody run out there, grab one before Nissan... Maybe not.
All right, folks, so when we break down the fastest and slowest selling cars in the United States, there's a couple things you have to keep in mind. First things first, market days supply. Can you explain to us what the market days supply is and why it's so important?
So the market day supply is the number of days it would take to sell all the vehicles that are in inventory based on the daily selling rate.
So when we look at market day supply, the higher the number, so in this case, 200 plus days for the Nissan Z, that means it would take 200 days to sell all those 1,904 that are actively for sale nationwide because of how slow they're currently selling. So number 9 on the list would be the Mitsubishi Mirage G4 with a 218 days supply. There's 3,400 of them for sale nationwide. Pops, 705 have sold in the last 45 days, and a $19,653 average $53 average transaction price. This one's pretty shocking to be on the slowest selling cars list.
It is indeed. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that the Mitsubishi has said that they're going to discontinue the car moving forward.
That could be something to do with it here. Now at the number 8 spot, we have the Porsche Taycan, our first electric vehicle on the slowest selling cars list. A 222 days supply, 2,291 for sale nationwide. Only 464 have sold in the last 45 days. And an average transaction price over $145,000. Then at number 7, you have a Maserati, the Grey Calais, at 222 days supply, 893 for sale, 181 have sold, and an $80,000 average transaction price. You've got the Chrysler Voyager, which, you know, the Pacifica wasn't selling well, so why don't we
bring back the Voyager?
Bring the Voyager back. 229 days supply, almost 1,200 for sale, 232 have sold in the last 45 days. At about a $41,000 average transaction price. And then you have your top 5 slowest selling cars in the United States. And it's worth mentioning that you can see the slowest and fastest selling cars in your neighborhood, in your city and state, back on caredge.com/fastest or caredge.com/slowest. So we have the data not only nationwide, but if you want to see what's going on, Tampa Bay, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Minnetonka, Minnesota, we got it all.
Atlantic City, New Jersey. There you have it.
caredge.com/fastest and /slowest. Now the top 5 slowest selling cars. And I want to get your reaction to these in just a moment. The Cadillac CT4 is the 5th slowest selling car in the month of February in the United States of America. 234 days supply. There's 2,725 of these for sale nationwide, yet only 523 have sold in the last 45 days, with an average transaction price just below $50,000. Then we have an Alfa Romeo, so we've got more Stellantis products making up this top 10 list. The Giulia, with a 254 days supply, 1,157 are actively for sale. 205 have sold recently, just under a $55,000 average transaction price. And then our top 3 slowest selling vehicles, the Audi A3, which previously was a reigning champion. It was the slowest selling car in the United States a couple months ago. 275 days supply, 3,441 for sale nationwide. 564 have sold, $42,000 average transaction price. The Mazda Miata, Dad.
Winter time.
Maybe now's the moment to go buy your Mazda Miata. A 284 days supply, 2,000 for sale, yet only 325 have sold in the last 45 days. $35,000 average transaction price. Miata might be a good pickup right about now.
Yes.
And your slowest selling car in the United States, Stellantis, taking the title with the Dodge Charger. A 312 days supply, 6,857 of these for sale nationwide, yet less than 1,000 have sold in the last 45 days with a $50,000 average transaction price. What's your read here, Dad, on the top 10 slowest selling cars nationwide?
Well, the average transaction prices are typically between $40,000 and $50,000, which is right around where the average transaction price for the industry is at the moment. I am shocked by the Mitsubishi Mirage being one of the few cars that's under $20,000. I know it's not much of a car, but if you need a form of transportation and you prefer something new with a warranty, well, where are you going to go other than there? I mean, you know, Mitsubishi makes a decent car. It's just It's a $20,000 car, but that car shocks me because you would think people would be clamoring to pick those up.
Two out of these 10 are Japanese brands, the Nissan and the Mitsubishi. And the Nissan I don't even really count in this context because it's the new Z and it's a $53,000 Nissan, so that I'm just writing that off. So one out of these are like an affordable Asian import brand. The rest are either domestic or European, so that stands out to me. And the domestic ones, obviously Stellantis. Stellantis has had the #1 slowest selling car on this list many times over, so not too surprised to see another Dodge product up there at the #1 spot. Now, our fastest selling vehicles, it'll be interesting to see what takeaways you have here. Our fastest selling vehicles in the United States right now, Pops, number 10 on the list is the Toyota Camry with a 33-day supply. So juxtapose these numbers I'm about to read out to you. There are over 28,000 new Toyota Camrys for sale nationwide right now.
Yes.
Yet 38,478 have sold in the last 45 days. Average transaction price on that Camry is about $35,000. Then the BMW X5 has a 32 days supply, 5,932 for sale nationwide, 8,374 have sold in the last 45 days, $82,000.
It's still popular. It is
Really
still popular.
The GMC Yukon has a 32-day supply, 4,600 of them for sale nationwide, 6,600 of them have sold in the last 45 days, $83,000 is the average transaction price there. Then you have the Lexus NX with a 31-day supply, almost 3,000 for sale nationwide, yet more than 4,300 have sold in the last 45 days at a $50,000 price point. And then the Toyota RAV4 with a 31-day supply as well. Listen to this, man. 40,000 of them for sale nationwide, yet almost 60,000 have been sold in the past 45 days.
Pretty popular vehicle.
I would say so.
Yes.
Average transaction price just below $38,000. And then your top 5, Dad, you have the Lexus ES Hybrid with a 30-day supply. Relatively small number of them for sale nationwide, only 1,168, yet 1,773 have sold in the last 45 days. $52,000 average transaction price. BMW's on here again with the X6 this time. There's only 754 of them for sale, leading to 1,190 sold in the last 45 days with a 29-day supply and a $90,000 average transaction price. And then your top 3,
People will pay for an unusually looking vehicle.
I think number 1 and number 2 on this list definitely show that people will pay. The top 3, Dad, the Lexus RX, 28 days supply, 3,953 for sale nationwide, 6,382 have sold in the last 45 days, sub $60,000 price point there. Then the Cadillac Escalade with a 24-day supply, shockingly low days supply, $2,899, 2,899 for sale, yet they've sold over almost 5,500 of them in the last 45 days at a nearly $115,000 price point. And your number 1 fastest selling car nationwide, which if you've tried to buy one, you know this is true. The Lexus GX has a 24-day supply, 2,000 for sale nationwide, yet nearly 4,000 have sold in the last 45 days with about an $80,000 price point. All right, takeaways from your fastest selling cars in the United States right now.
Toyota and Lexus apparently have a short day supply, which contributes to a high sales rate. So those are going to be vehicles that are going to be tougher to get deals on. And I am shocked that number 2 on that list is the Escalade with an average transaction price of nearly $115,000. There's a lot of things I can do with $115,000, and getting an Escalade is not one of them.
There's a really interesting takeaway from this, Ted. We've been tracking the fastest and slowest selling cars back on CarEdge.com for years now. And typically what we've seen are that the slowest selling cars have higher transaction prices and the fastest selling cars have lower transaction prices. This is one of the first times that I remember us doing this, where a lot of the vehicles on the fastest selling side have $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 plus transaction prices. I think we are seeing a little bit of the haves versus have-nots. The haves continue to buy these expensive vehicles like the GX, the Escalade, the Yukon, the X6, and the X5, thus leading to a fast turn rate versus what we're seeing on the slowest selling side. We saw a sub $20,000 vehicle over there on the slowest selling side. That's asinine. You wouldn't have imagined that 6 months ago. So I think we're seeing an interesting dynamic here between price point and fast and slow selling cars.
It just indicates that those who are in the market are not in the market for like a really inexpensive car like the Mirage. The people that are in the market today are well-heeled and are looking for the nicer cars and willing to pay the price.
It certainly seems that way.
Yes.
Again, you can access this data back on caredge.com/fastest and caredge.com/slowest. And again, do it for your city and state. And you can then see all the various offers, incentives from the manufacturers. And like you've said at the outset, if a vehicle's selling faster, you have less negotiating leverage. If a vehicle's selling slower, like that Dodge Charger, get ready to play some hardball because you've got the leverage.
Yes, absolutely. The slower the selling of the car, the more leverage you have.
Thanks, Pops.
Thank you.